named Heather Jones. Heather was calling because her husband Michael had hit her and tried to shoot her. Heather and Michael lived together along with a boy named Adrian Jones. Adrian was 7 and he lived with 6 of his other siblings. Heather was Adrian's stepmother. A woman named Diana Pierce was his biological mother, and he lived with her in Lawrence, Kansas, for the first few years of his life. But when he was found unattended at home, he was removed from his mother's custody and placed into the care of his father. So, like I said before, Heather called the police, and soon they were dispatched to the house inside. The police were disgusted at what they found. There were bullet holes in the walls and the floor, and the house was covered in rat poison, dead mice, syringes, and hardcore adult entertainment videos and magazines. The house was in no way in an acceptable environment for children, and while the police were at the home, they got some information that Adrian had been missing for a number of months. His extended family had not seen him for some time. He and his 6 other siblings were homeschooled, so no red flags were raised in that department, and an Amber Alert had not been issued. Heather and Michael's 6 other children who lived in the house were taken into protective custody, and Michael and Heather were both arrested. After they were arrested, Heather asked her landlady Jennifer Hoovers to save some pictures of her children from her Apple iCloud account. Jennifer was happy to help, not knowing what she would soon uncover when she logged into the account. She found some images of Adrian, images showing the horrific things that had happened to the poor boy. Once back at the station, Heather told the police that if they were to look around the property, they'd find the remains of Adrian. Heather said that Michael had killed him and that she was innocent. She claimed that she wanted to help Adrian, but Michael had knocked out her 2 front teeth. And she said that after that she became too scared to save him. After Jennifer discovered the images on Heather's iCloud account, she made her way down to the police station and handed the images over. Just a little warning, there are images of Adrian online after the abuse he suffered, which I advise do not Google because nobody wants to see that. I'll only be including pictures of him as a healthy, happy child. After Jennifer discovered the images on Heather's iCloud account, she made her way down to the police station and handed the images over. The images documented what Adrian had suffered and showed the final few months of his life. I am now going to share details of what Adrian suffered, and this is what the couple documented and seemed to enjoy doing so. There was surveillance cameras in every room. Michael and Heather monitored Adrian's every move. standing in the shower, showing him getting thinner and thinner until his tiny frame was almost skeletal. The couple wanted to document how his body deteriorated over time, and from the constant attacks, Adrian's ankles were bent out of shape and were constantly inflamed. Michael had set up an alarm system on the refrigerator and the food cupboard, so if Adrian ever tried to get any food, the couple were notified. And if the alarm were to ever go off, they would punish him for trying to eat. Adrian was allowed to eat, but only out of a maggot-infested bowl outside, with his hands tied behind his back. Sometimes the couple would shove a bar of soap into his mouth as far as they could, knowing that he wouldn't be able to get it out. They would then place food in front of him and walk away. Inside the home, the couple had ripped out one of their showers and turned it into a makeshift prison cell from plywood. In the photograph, you can see that Heather is posing in front of it, taking a selfie. This is where Adrian would be kept towards the end of his life, and one of the photographs on the iCloud account showed a close-up of Adrian's cut, bloody lips. This was caused by him attempting to jump out of his plywood cell, and other photos showed what appeared to be taser marks on his skin. One of Adrian's siblings said that they heard him screaming through a vent, saying, "I'm going to die." They then heard Heather say, "Suck it up." At this point, I'm gonna stop talking about what else he suffered, what other tortures he suffered from. I think you guys get the point by now. I don't want this whole video to be just talking about that, because this is already a depressing, tragic, heartbreaking case as it is. So, Adrian once was a healthy and happy boy, but towards the end of his life, he was almost unrecognisable. One day, after months of suffering and starvation, Adrian's body gave up and he tragically starved to death. Adrian had died alone in the shower cell, and they left his body there for 2 weeks. Michael and Heather then went out and purchased some pigs, and for the couple of weeks they didn't feed the pigs just to make sure they were extremely hungry. They then threw Adrian's body into the pig's pen. Now this is the part where it gets really boil-blooding, because people might be thinking, what about the extended family of Adrian's biological mother, or friends or other family members? Why did no one check on him for so long? Or even check on the house? It sounded like it was in such a state. Weren't there smells coming from deceased animals in there and so forth? But I will talk about that bit now. 2 years before Adrian's heartbreaking death in 2013, a child, social service worker, and a police officer were both speaking with Adrian. He also said that Michael and Heather met him and locked him up in the closet at night time. But it appears they didn't take these statements too seriously. After a couple of weeks, the couple told the services that they were moving and that they no longer needed these checks anymore. Heather straight away pinned all the blame on Michael and said that she was a victim too, and that he used to beat her. She said that she had discovered that Adrian had died and that she now suspected that he was going to kill her shortly before she was arrested, because she had found out what had happened. But it's clear from the evidence that the police uncovered that she also participated in a lot of the horrific suffering that Adrian faced. She apologised for what happened to Adrian and claimed that she had no one to turn to save her and Adrian from Michael. She is quoted as saying, "I can't go back now, but I truly, from the bottom of my heart, am sorry. I wasn't strong enough to protect him, and I wish I could take it back." Michael Jones and Heather Jones were charged with first-degree murder and both pleaded guilty to first-degree murder. They were sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole for 25 years. Adrian's life was short, and it's unimaginable just how much he must have suffered at the hands of those who were supposed to care and love for him. Questions were raised just how could the system have failed him so badly. Adrian was described as a young boy who was full of life, who talked non-stop about his love for football, and he hoped one day to play. Prosecutors who worked on Adrian's case have even said that the crime is one of the most heinous they have ever seen, which I can totally imagine. I mean, so much happened over these months. But anyways, that brings me to the end of today's case. Yeah, doesn't really feel right, so I hope you guys enjoy, because I know it's true crime and that's kind of what I do, but this one just kind of hits a little bit different. Well, I hope it was relaxing for you guys and that you've discovered a new case that you haven't heard of before, let's say. Anyways, I will leave it on that note, and as I said in the beginning, please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, and also leave suggestions in the comment section down below of cases that you'd like me to cover in the future. But thank you guys so much for watching and all the positive comments and support.